All right, let's talk about something that hits close to home for so many of us, especially at work. That feeling that our kindness just gets us walked all over. Today, we're going to break down how to stop being used and start being truly, genuinely respected. And it all starts with a few questions you've probably been asking yourself for a while now.
Does this one sound familiar? You know, that constant feeling that you're the one putting in all the effort, helping everyone, staying late, but when you need a hand, crickets. It's totally draining and, honestly, pretty frustrating.
Or hey, maybe it's this. You go out of your way to be helpful, to be the accommodating one on the team. But somewhere along the line, it stopped being a nice surprise and started being an expectation. Your kindness just becomes part of the service you're supposed to provide.
And this is the one that really stings, right? You're coming from a good place, your intentions are solid, but somehow you're the one who always ends up feeling let down. Well, if any of these questions are resonating with you, you are in the right place, because the answer isn't what you've been led to believe.
You see, it all starts with a fundamental misunderstanding. It's a dangerous lie we've all been told about how kindness and rewards actually work, especially in the professional world. So, on one hand, we've got the story we all hear growing up. Just be nice, don't make waves, be a team player, and good things will come to you. But the uncomfortable truth? The working world doesn't really reward being soft. It rewards being aware. Aware of the dynamics, aware of your value, and aware of where your lines are.
And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of the problem. We mix up being a good person with being a harmless person. Being good is about having integrity, about taking positive action. But being harmless? That's just about avoiding conflict to be liked. And in any competitive environment, the harmless people are, unfortunately, the easiest ones to ignore.
I want you to just let that sink in for a second. True kindness, the kind that actually earns respect, it has a backbone, it has strength. Without that strength, it's not a virtue. It's just a vulnerability, an open invitation for people to take advantage.
So, if the problem isn't just about being nicer, where do we even begin to look for the solution? Well, the key is to shift our focus from what everyone else is doing to how we ourselves are responding.
Okay, I know this might sound a little harsh at first, but stick with me, because this is actually incredibly empowering. You don't lose out in these situations because someone else is more powerful. You lose out because your automatic, predictable reactions make you easier for them to manage.
Just picture this. You're in a meeting in front of your boss, your team, and a colleague calls out what they say is a mistake in your project. What's your gut reaction? Do you immediately get defensive? Do you get quiet and feel that hot flush of embarrassment? That split-second emotional reaction, that's the exact moment you hand over all your power.
And that is where we find the solution. The tiny little space between the trigger, that criticism, and your response, that's where all of your power is hiding. Learning to pause and choose a calm, strategic response instead of just lashing out, that changes the entire game.
Okay, so theory is one thing, but how do we actually practice this kind of control? Well, it all comes down to one of the most important skills you can develop in your career: building and enforcing professional boundaries.
Let's be really clear about this. This isn't about being mean or uncooperative. It's about teaching people how to treat you. Boundaries are just the instruction manual you provide. If you consistently tolerate getting emails at 10 p.m. or having your ideas ignored, you're silently giving that behavior a thumbs up.
So, let's do a quick gut check. See if any of these sound familiar. Does your no get treated like the start of a negotiation? Is your time after 5 p.m. basically seen as fair game? Do you see your ideas get shot down only for someone else to say the exact same thing 5 minutes later to applause? Recognizing these patterns is the absolute first step to getting your time and your value back.
You know, so many of us are afraid to set boundaries because we think we'll push people away. But it really helps to think of a boundary as a filter. The people who respect your limits, those are the keepers. The ones who get upset and leave, well, they were never really respecting you to begin with. Okay, so let's get practical. When you're in that high-pressure moment, like that meeting we talked about, how do you actually choose your response instead of just reacting? Here's a super simple 3-step framework you can use.
Let's break this down. First, observe, don't absorb. Try to emotionally detach. See your colleague's comment not as a personal attack, but just as a piece of data. Second, pause. Just for a second. Take one deep breath. This tiny gap short-circuits that automatic reaction. And third, act deliberately. So instead of getting angry, you might just calmly say, "Appreciate that perspective. I'll take it under consideration." Boom, you've held your ground without losing your cool. And when you start putting all these pieces together, the mindset shift, the boundaries, the calm responses, a fundamental change starts to happen. You move from being someone who's easy to manage to someone who is impossible to ignore.
Think about it like two different paths. The person seeking approval is like a chameleon, always changing who they are to fit in. But the person who's gaining respect, they're consistent. They don't run from conflict, but they engage with purpose and clarity. They don't make themselves smaller to be liked. They protect their reputation with every single move.
And ultimately, this is what it's all about. When your actions start coming from your own core values and goals, not from a desperate need for everybody else to like you, you find this incredible sense of professional freedom. And that confidence is something other people can't help but notice and respect. So remember, real power isn't about having the loudest voice in the room. It's about having clarity, awareness, and the quiet strength that comes from self-control. It's about being sharper. And when you're sharper, the world has no choice but to treat you differently.